Every time I have a happy memory or a sad memory, I can remember processing it during lifting.
When you're like 12 years old and you think you want to go to the Olympics, I think at that age I just wanted her to know that she was doing all the things that she needed to do, that each step was one piece of like a larger journey for her.
I've kind of just been in a gym my whole life. I think in 3rd grade, I drew the gym as my favorite place. It was the place that seemed the calmest to me, had the rhythm that I loved.
When Etta was 4, I went to a CrossFit gym right by her preschool. And so she would come by and sometimes I would like run her around instead of carrying weights and stuff like that.
There was a kids' CrossFit area at the gym that she went to, so it had like plastic barbells and dumbbells and everything, and so I would just practice everything that I could see her doing.
So even at 7, she was so dead set on getting like a handstand push-up, and so she would just work and work and work, and she'd be this little bright red-faced kid just like pushing herself so hard. At a certain point, she just said like, "Mom, when I hold a barbell, I feel alive." And since that point, we've just been chasing it for her, letting her lead the way, but always trying to make sure that she has what she needs to keep going.
This is the world record clean and jerk amount that Etta will be attempting if things go according to plan, and they will in Spain in a few weeks.
It's unbelievably humbling to know that you're all here to help our child to meet her dreams.
Much better.
My entire life, I've just been surrounded by a lot of powerful women. Women who went to the same gym as me, or women at the CrossFit Games or the Olympics. And so how I wanted to be when I grew up was all about the strength and power and grace that I saw in these women. And my mom was just like the biggest example of that. Weightlifting has been something that I've done for myself, and so it has to be something that I show up to as my full self. And so I show up on anxious days, and I show up on sad days, and I show up on days where I'm really happy, and I show up on days where I need to be tough. There's this idea that to achieve greatness in weightlifting, that you have to push yourself aside, right? That you have to kind of betray your own needs in order to be great. As a kid, I didn't really have the right words to describe who I was. I didn't really know that I was queer. I didn't know that I was neurodivergent. I just knew that I was different. I know that the bar and that weightlifting has been there for me on my worst days in just a very practical sense. And it gave me a place where I felt safe and where I felt like I could trust myself, as I was coming out, as I was dealing with a lot of really hard things that made me kind of want to run away from myself. It was something that brought me back into my body.
Etta was exploring these ideas, and then she wrote a post on Instagram and she sent it to me and she said, "Mom, what do you think about this?" And it was this whole thing about how the bar has saved her, how it's always been there for her. It is a touch point and a faithful friend and a place where she finds herself and honors her own commitments to herself in this really beautiful way. For me, I feel like all of it has been, pride on top of pride. I just feel like she's such an incredible person, and I like every part of her, whether or not that fits in perfectly with the world.
I had been following my current coach, Amy, for years, and she was doing virtual coaching for the first time in a while. And so I reached out to her. I go to Oregon a few times in a year if I can, but all of our communication is over text or FaceTime, and so that's just been really a gift to me that is an option, right? Because if it wasn't available to me, I couldn't be coaching with her. And so, between me and her, and also me and her and Crystal, having that communication is something that's almost constant, but amazing. When I'm traveling, I do have my family with me sometimes, but it's never everybody. And so being able to communicate for live streams and updates is really important.
My greatest fear in life was flying. So for 15 years, I didn't get on an airplane, and I missed Etta setting a Pan American record. And I was like, oh, I'm never gonna miss this again. And so it's a really big deal for all of us to be there. Kids make you brave.
My mom getting me into weightlifting in more ways than one changed my life. And my mom has given me so many opportunities and shown me so many ways that I can exist. and things that I totally would have limited for myself. She's the reference that I have for being a powerful woman and being someone who shows up as her full self, because she also does that.